if you ever been an apex predator player, you know when you ain't that no more. And the reason you quit playing is because I can't be that. I ain't that dude no more. And if I can't be that dude, I step off. Because that's who I am every time I step on the floor. The reason I use sports metaphors is because life is complex and people get confused. So I take sports because everybody thinks they know something about it, but at least they understand the vocabulary and the jargon. And as Larry's carpenter friend said when asked why did he speak in parables, he said so that my people may understand. So I need you to understand the parable. If you understand the parable, you can get the point that you can be too old for certain things. You're too old to play, but you ain't too old to coach. Okay, and so your experience and wisdom needs to stay in the game for the benefit of players who gonna come after you. Okay, and there's two aspects of athletic development in any sport. There's talent, which is a given, because if you ain't got talent, you can't do it. And then there's skill. Skill is what you develop. And you can develop a certain level of skill on your own. But when you combine the skill and the talent, somebody still has to teach you how to play. And that's what coaches do. And there is no coach who's an active player. Coaches are people who have played or studied the game, have always been around it, and then they're teaching you how this game goes and what kind of player you can be. Looking at your skill set and your talent, say this is who you are, this is where you can be. The reason you need coaches, everybody needs coaches. You never get too good not to need coaches, because when you're you can never see the picture when you're in the frame. The only and in life, as just like in sports, you see the whole game, but you never see yourself play. So somebody has to tell you this is what's going on with you in this game, and help you understand how to make those adjustments. So there is a place for old folks. It just ain't on the court or in the field. Okay, it's in the booth or in the film room. Okay, to say this is what you got wrong. This is what you need to do better next time. And when you're working on your individual game, your skill development, work on this move, that move. Because here's the thing: bad coaches can lose you games, but you win games because players make plays. What coaches do is put players in a position to make plays. Good players even make great plays. That's number one. Number two, we have a culture problem. And I'll go back to my sports metaphor. There's two reasons you lose regularly, bad teams. The one reason could be talent. Your players are just not good enough. Okay, I mean, we're in a league and a conference where people are just flat ass better than us. I need better play. But usually there's not that much difference in talent at whatever level you're playing with at. But the real difference between winners and losers are culture. The culture of the team, the culture of the organization. And winning teams have a certain culture. Losing teams also have a certain culture. And here is what indicative of what separates a winning team from a losing team. And this is where we are as Black people now. On losing teams, if you go into the locker room after the game, everybody's looking at the stat sheet about how did I do, okay? Did I hit my number? Because that's how I get paid. You go in the locker room of a championship team, all they look at is the score. Did we win? Okay. And if we won, it's because everybody did what they were supposed to do. And my numbers don't matter if it didn't contribute, as long as it contributes to us winning. So I'll even make adjustments in my game tonight because somebody else is rolling. Okay. And that's where we're going. So even though I'm the leading scorer, I don't have to be the leading scorer every night. But we come here every night to win the game. What we got is a losing team because we got a lot of individuals worried about their number, not if we win. And that's what's changed for us. Historically, we were concerned with us winning, not me winning. And the only reason I needed to be the player that I became was so we could win and be a better team. Not so I could be a better player, but we could be a better team. And you played the best player. You were modeling that. So those ancestors Charles was talking about, that old guys who were walking around who have stayed too long, and not prima donnas who want to be stars. And that's the most important thing. We got a losing culture. We got enough talent. We got as much talent as we've ever had. Probably better, more skilled in terms of being better educated and all of that. But our problem is we no longer know how to win or what it takes to be a winning team. So think about it. We survived. Let's just take the country. I won't even worry about North America. From 1789 to 1865 is basically 175 years of legal slavery in America. We survived that shit. We survived another 90 years of Jim Crow, American apartheid. We survived that shit. We taught black kids how to read when it was illegal, and you can say because people went out in the middle of the Mississippi River at night to teach black kids how to read. We control every goddamn school in America that black kids go to, and we can't teach nobody how to fucking read. So if our ancestors, if their game had been as weak ass as ours is today, none of us would be here in this conversation. Our asses would have been gone. Our asses would have been gone a long time ago.
But why don't we have, Mike, let me ask you this though. Why don't we have that courage anymore? When you talk to people now, some of the conversations that I was having last night, there is no courage in their conversation. There's no enthusiasm. Everybody believes that this is just how it's going to be. They don't even want to make a difference. That's what's so problematic for me. You have people that have the ability to make a difference, and they don't even want to. They don't even want to challenge the system. They don't even want to challenge the people around them. How can you be around these people and they saying these things and you don't even want to challenge them on it?
I'm going to stay with something. Larry and I have spent a lot of time around the game, basketball, particularly the developmental part, young players. I will say that today's athletes, like the folks you're talking about, are the most skilled generation that we've ever seen. I will also tell you that, to quote Daryl P. W. Leonard, they soft as hospital cotton. Okay? That's the fucking problem. They babysit soft. And they were raised babysit soft. ain't anytime your whole adolescent growing up experience is your mama making play dates for you, you ain't gonna be worth a shit. That fundamentally all of us survived walking out the house and figured out how to get through the playground every day. How to handle and manage all these relationships. Good, bad, indifferent, good, bad, and ugly. We no longer do that. So we have produced a generation that's never had to compete, never had to respond to failure. Because everybody failed. Matter of fact, as Yoda says in one of the Star Wars, failure is the only teacher. Don't nobody learn shit from winning. You learn
when you lose
from failing. Mm-hmm. And if you're never permitted to fail and never have to come back for it, then you don't have an experience. And it needs to happen when you're young, when it don't matter, if you know what I mean. These
right.
The mistakes don't matter, but they're all part of character development. And we used to have institutions that developed that. The black barbershop is more than just where you get your haircut. The black church used to be more than where you went to hear a sermon on Sunday. Okay? These were institutions that were fundamental to how we evolved and developed from children to adulthood. They were both teachers and accountability things. Okay? Because you wanted to be seen a certain way when you went to get a haircut. I'll give you a classic example. None of my children's mother ever took them to get a haircut. You didn't let, that men took boys to get a haircut till boys were big enough to go by themselves. Because there were conversations that boys needed to hear inside of that space. And that's where black men told stories that they already
like a rites
knew.
Of passage.
Yeah, and they told stories that they already knew. This wasn't new for them, but it was new for every generation that sit there. So there was a connection between who you are and what's come before you. So all of that is formative. Audre Lorde is right. You cannot use the master's tools to dismantle the master's house. And I'll say really literally one last thing on this point. If you, and I'm going to say it's, I call this generation, Gerald, the DSEG generation. And I mean it disparagingly, by the way. Okay? I'm a product of segregated schools. And which meant all black schools, not bad schools, just all black schools. So I didn't, by the time I dealt with the white integrated America, I was a grown man, or at least 19, 20 years old by the time I got to the University of Missouri. Here is what I will say, I'll suggest, because I'm not expert on this, Charles is, and you can correct me if you think I got anything substantively wrong. I'm sure I got some of it wrong. But where your children go to preschool and third grade really don't matter, because kids are just kids. They do kid stuff. Where your children go to high school, junior high school or middle school can matter, and where they go to high school definitely matters, because you're transitioning from, in adolescence, from being a child to becoming adult. And fundamentally, your personality is going to be shaped by those adolescent experiences and how you relate it to them. if you send a black child into a culturally dominant white environment that doesn't have any black outlet, like the school is 80% white, but 20% black, so all the black kids, there's a black core that you can stay connected to in school because we all eat lunch together, we all rode the bus together, whatever. But just in that general environment, and they have a successful experience. They make friends, they get grades, they go on to college, they develop literally everything you want your child to do. Here's the thing that you never think about, and that as I'll say, as the parent, you miss. The one thing that I can guarantee, or skill I can guarantee that child has mastered in successfully transitioning through that experience is that they know how to accommodate white folks. Because if they hadn't been able to master that skill, they could never have been successful in that environment. So their fundamental context now in the world is not how I advance black folks, but how do I accommodate white folks to continue to be successful? Because that's what I learned. Okay, I didn't teach myself that. You put me in an environment that in order for me to be successful, I had to master that skill. And then you want to criticize that child who is now an adult for not functioning in the way you need him to function or her to function as a black man or woman